And we are live. Good afternoon and welcome to my daily broadcast. My name is Barry Selby and I am a best-selling author, speaker and relationship attraction expert, helping strong, successful women find balance in love, life and business. And there's more coming after a very insightful conversation earlier today. But not going to share it now, share it later. There's new things brewing. This is my daily Facebook Live message that ends up on YouTube as well. And this is Messages from the Masculine to Inspire the Feminine Heart. It's number 251 in my daily series. So lots of broadcasts out there. And this is actually part 2 of a talk I started yesterday. And this is somewhat birthed from the Me Too conversation. And I talked about how, particularly for women, but also for some men too, when you say no, it doesn't always get the result you want. And partly because you don't always stand behind your own no. So today I want to take a different spin on it, because after I finished the broadcast yesterday, I had this awareness that I'd missed something in the conversation. So a brief recap of yesterday, although I recommend watching yesterday's broadcast for the full download. I shared how for many people, saying no to something, like particularly if a woman saying no to a man who's being too polite versus aggressive, doesn't always land because you don't believe you can say no. And actually that covers that yesterday and today. So let's recap yesterday's briefly and then come back to today I'm focusing on. So yesterday I talked about how for many of us, both genders, our history overlays our current focus, because perhaps when we're younger, our decisions, our requests, our intentions, or our no's were overridden by the adults around us. And so we learned at a young age that no doesn't mean anything to other people. And so when we say no, we don't even believe it anymore. And that's a trap that we fall into as adults. So ladies, if you're someone who you said no and not gotten the response you wanted from a man, particularly who was putting his advances on you, his hands on you, groping you, whatever that was, especially when you're younger, because a lot of times this stuff happens from sexual trauma when you're younger, because an adult doesn't respect your boundaries and doesn't listen to your no. So as an adult, you have little faith in your own no. This is a recap, by the way, yesterday, but I'm getting deeper in it as I talk about it. So to really honor and own your own no in statement, you've got to change the rewiring inside, because, frankly, the power you have, ladies, particularly, to stop a man in his tracks is a lot more than you think it is. But you've been convinced by the outside environment and programmed in that men are stronger. And I'm not going to give you suggestions, but I am going to say that you have the power within you to be able to declare a boundary that's healthy and strong for you. And that includes saying no in a way that works. One part of that is to heal what's in the way, which is your old programming that taught you that no wasn't strong, because that was your childhood belief that no longer runs. And I mentioned yesterday, get some help. That's something I specialize in. Other people do too. You can get some help with that. So that's the recap from yesterday. And again, I invite you to watch yesterday's broadcast, because I did go deeper in this and offer some suggestions. Today, part 2. This one I'm putting on the heading of people pleasing. And I mean people pleasing this way because we may not think we are. However, our acquiescence to other people's wishes is a really big indicator that we would rather have other people be happy than ourselves. So, how do I mean this in this context? Again, no doesn't mean no necessarily. No means what, as I put it in the title, because when you say no, you don't want something, like holding that line for somebody, but you acquiesce, you give it up too easily, you give up that boundary too easily, it might be wired into a program inside called people pleaser. And this is a programming type. This is a wiring program that runs inside of you based on childhood. Again, these are all tied together from the same place. Surprise, surprise. You didn't suddenly change your tune as an adult because you decided to do something differently. These sort of things that sabotage you 90% of the time are sourced in your childhood. This means two things. It means that you have been rewired or wired the wrong way from childhood. That's what's running for you. And secondly, you have the power to change it. Yes, you have the power to change your programming from when you were a child, so that your adult life is very different. That's the good news, and I'll get to more of that in a second. So, the people pleaser model, paradigm, archetype. You may have discovered when you were younger that the way to get what you wanted in life, whether it was love, affection, things you wanted, even getting food, could be tied into having to please somebody else to get it. And it may be that you have to do the dishes or make your bed or do other things that are basically programmed in because they're wiring. Those are things that are within you because you were raised with them. Now, your parents may have been oblivious they were doing this either. I'm not to say put blame on your parents. But you may have been raised in a culture or an environment where being nice was more important than being right. And, more importantly, because it's not always about being right, being nice is more important than being honoured. That's probably more accurate to the wounding that's happening. Now, I went through some of it myself in my own upbringing, and it wasn't something my parents did. It was actually the paradigm that a lot of us grew up in. That, kids are like better seen, not heard type things, or be nice because be nicer to your elders, all these different things. We were told as kids to be nice. And so for a lot of us, the wiring that we have inside is saying no isn't nice. So literally, you have this dichotomy inside. To say no means you're not being nice, but saying no is what you need. So you say yes to something that hurts you because you've got to be nice. That's really messed up, especially if you're not being honored and respected. And I know I address this mostly to women, but there are men out there who this resonates for as well, including myself. There's some of my own history in here. And having an understanding that you're running this program, because the first thing is becoming aware. I was talking in a conversation this morning, my friend said to me, the first step in growth is awareness. So the first thing is if you become aware and understand, or not necessarily understand, but just become aware of the fact you've got a tape running or a program running inside of you that is causing you to please somebody else rather than taking care of yourself. Be really clear that's happening. Because again, first step, awareness. When you become aware of this paradigm, you become aware of this understanding, you might discover some rather, what's the word I'm looking for? Distressing recognitions, because you may have found out that your whole upbringing to now has had some sabotage in it. Self-facilitated sabotage because you were running an automatic program below the level of your discernment and your will. That was an automatic program saying, I've got to please everybody else, and I can't please myself. And if you do that in your life, which you may have done, a lot of people do this, you will find that what you wanted didn't happen. In fact, there's a whole, what's I'm looking for? There's a whole snake pit? I don't know if that's the right word. There's a whole Pandora's box, I'll be polite, of the stuff that is running the show. Meaning that when you start to understand and recognize and become aware, keyword, of what's been running in your life subconsciously from when you were a child to now, that has diverted, sabotaged, rerouted your choices, so it wasn't getting what you wanted necessarily because you knew on a deep level that you had to please other people. Again, back to the wiring. That people-pleasing desire, because that's when you were shown acceptance, that's when you were shown approval, that's when you were shown love, which meant you wired together. People-pleasing and love had to go together. You couldn't get love without it, because that's the wiring you took on. For some of you, this is going, oh my God, I realize now. Good. Because this week you can take action. Because simple awareness is the first step towards healing, transformation, and more empowerment. There was a piece in that came out here. What was that? Hang on a second, I'm just going to remember what it was. It does that. Stuff comes in one big load, and I've got to put it back in. So the recognition that your wiring, that your upbringing, which is what it was, has negatively influenced your adult choices is not necessarily a cause for alarm, but it's cause for awareness, because once you become aware, please don't go back to sleep. Please stay aware to what's going on, because when you do that, you can start unpacking it. And with support, with guidance, with help, you can actually rewire the old wiring to make it, to change it so you're no longer driven by an automatic program of people pleaser. You can rewire it so you can deserve and honor and respect yourself and get love as you wish it to be, with respect, with boundaries, and where no is respected as no. And it's making sense. I'm going to put a PS in here because this is something else that came up earlier in the conversation today that I'm actually going to realize is actually probably the core of my work in another way. For many people, this is for both genders, being driven to succeed in the business world, in the world at large, and making things happen, getting lots of possessions and accessories of life, making a difference in the world that is financially prosperous and everything else is great, and you're driven to do that so much of the time, yet you go home at night and you're alone on the couch with a glass of wine and your cat and you feel lonely. You find this power to drive, make a difference in the world and succeed and rock things out because you think that's going to fill you up. When you're yearning, you're crying out inside for the love of a partner, but you can't, it doesn't work. You don't get you have this failing with that. Part of the wiring is this people-pleasing model. Because again, the people-pleaser drive is to make sure other people are happy, either before or instead of yourself. And this piece about working so hard, especially if you're working as an employee, driving hard, making things happen, working long hours to get things done and going home exhausted at the end of the day and not taking care of yourself, not getting what you want, not having the love you deserve, is prevalent. It's a epidemic in this business world. And I, for one, am here to change it. Not the business world necessarily, but to change how you are wired and change your paradigm so you start really supporting yourself and being healthy. Because the reality is, if you keep doing that driven model without fulfillment internally, it's going to kill you. It's going to kill you emotionally, it's going to kill you energetically, and eventually it's going to kill you physically. So be aware. This is a big piece I'm talking about here. There's a lot more coming. I've just tapping the tip of the iceberg on this. I'm going to bring a lot more to the table, and if this is something that resonates for you, please reach out to me. This is something that I know is needed to be heard and spread and shared because, ladies and gentlemen, we're due for a change. And the people-pleaser model, which I see in all sorts of parts of society, from the politics to the entertainment industry to interpersonal relationships to spiritual communities, it's everywhere. And it's a deadly disease, kind of. It's only deadly to your self-fulfillment and deadly to your honor. So I hope this helps give you some inspiration, some thoughts, some guidance, some ideas. It's something that I personally feel is a needed opportunity to share. I want to put this out there now. Hopefully it helps. This is part 2. Again, part 1 was yesterday, part 2 is today. I invite you to watch that one as well as this one. I will, if I remember correctly, I'll put the link from yesterday's in below the comments on this one when I sign off, so you can watch that one. This is a game changer for some of you. And if you want to change the game, I can help you change it. That simple. And that, I think, is it for today's broadcast. If you haven't seen my broadcast before, by the way, I didn't mention this at the beginning. I do these daily. This is my daily Facebook Live, number 251. If you want help in the area of relationships, it's kind of my speciality. If you want help in the area of self-love, self-support, and self-fulfillment, that's part of it too. This is an ongoing series of talks called Messages from the Masculine to Inspire the Feminine Heart. They are intended to inspire and support you in having what you want. And you can find all of those on my business page on Facebook, which is barryselby.author, as well as on YouTube channel, which is Barry Selby, and it's the Messages from the Masculine playlist, as well as on my as well as on my website, which is barryselby.com, and you click on the video blog for that. If you know anybody else should watch this, if this speaks to somebody you think you know, please share it with them. If you want help in this area, you know where to find me. And I invite you to take care of yourself. My homework for you, as always, is please take care of yourself, respect yourself, love yourself. You deserve the best, and only you can show you how to do that. And once you do that, you'll attract a relationship at that level. That could be fun. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you again tomorrow, and be well. Bye.